back in that bag again. Whoa, oh, yeah. Hey. Back in that, yeah. Tell them to watch it. Now I ain't talking my pockets. Just know we ain't running out the way that we stock it. If I got it, you got it. If I call it, she sliding. Tell her to mop it. Yeah, I got that shit doing. Damn, she took that thing off and bring it around. Going at it till I'm on. Put that 90 in a hole. I'm beating it down. I'm back in that bag again. Whoa. Oh, say less. I'm back in that bag again. Yeah. Oh, say less. I'm back in that. Yeah. What you doing? Yeah. I'm back in that. Hey, where you going? Hey, back in that bag again. Don't bring me around your friends. You know
let
I'm
us
bagging
back on the
them.
podcast.
Catch me on Facebook, no, I ain't adding them. Positions I had her in. Hit from the back, that pussy was splattering. Calling her friend, tell her pull up. Word, let's
Merry
make it a
Christmas,
gathering.
Santa
I
is
said,
here.
baby, nah, I'm matic.
I
Now
know
she
him.
up in the splash again. I just be cashing in her buzz. Just like a wedding, I'm crashing.
Tis the season.
It is the Christmas episode of the Between Two Branches podcast.
Yeah.
Cooper, Phil.
It's pretty exciting.
It is.
Do you think it's going to be the last podcast of the year? I think it might be.
You know, Phil, with you, I never
That's true.
put anything.
I might just be like, hey, we're doing one
Hey, what,
Christmas afternoon.
what are you doing right now? I'm unwrapping presents. Hey, what do you think about doing a podcast right now? I'm
my
in.
timing,
I'm
as
on the
they
way.
come up, they come up.
I like it though. Are you ready? Are you prepared
I've
for
been waiting.
for Christmas.
Oh,
I mean, this is
why?
the intro portion of
I'm going to
the
get
show.
my shopping done tomorrow.
I
have it all planned out.
I made a mistake. I went to Walmart today. I went out by the mall area today. I made a mistake
Yeah, why would you do that?
because I needed wrapping paper.
Menards has that.
Yeah, well,
Just call.
Do you know where I work?
Just call Tony in advance. Tony, I need wrapping
could have come fix him
paper.
up. Well, I needed like some stocking stuffer things as well. So I'm like, well, I'll go to Walmart.
Tony.
That was a Tony. Here's my kid's Christmas list. If you could just go out and pick this up, that would be amazing. Also,
For those of you that don't know, that Tony is our delivery driver. At
Tony
Advanced
looks
Auto
Tony
Parts.
looks more like
He
Santa.
looks like Santa, and he's an absolute rock star. And when nobody in the parts industry can get us stuff, we just text Tony directly, and he does it.
So I made a mistake. I did not know that we could utilize Tony in such frivolous manners.
Yeah. Well,
So I did it myself.
Man, frivolous. Oh, that's
Frivolous.
pretty judgy. So how was Walmart?
I got stalked in Walmart by a woman who I think is two things. One, a lot lizard, and second, probably was looking to see if she could steal my catalytic converter. I'm not sure, but she like
Was she walking around with a Milwaukee Sawzall, just kind of lurking?
well, she was not at the level of a Milwaukee Sawzall, but I feel like she had a pack with tools in it. That she's done some. She could do some surgeries.
Oh, do
Also, but you know how you sometimes when you go shopping, you run into people like, oh, I saw you in this out. I saw you in this out. This was like glaringly obvious because I didn't know where I was going. I'm like, I don't know.
She was 3 steps behind.
She
me
was
the whole
just
time.
behind me, not pushing a cart, not carrying a basket, not nothing in her hands, just traipsing right behind me the whole way, all the way back out to my Jeep. Yeah, that was my trip to Walmart.
Did you turn around and like, hello, my name is Cooper?
I said, Mom, I know that you moved back from California, but this is ridiculous.
Oh, that was good.
You got to schedule time.
You had me hook, line, and sinker.
Well, 99% of that was true. It was not my mother.
Oh.
She does not have a toolkit. I mean,
Fair.
she needs it though. But no, excited for Christmas and excited to be back in the podcast as we wrap up 2023. We had a big year this year. 169. That's where we're at on the Apple Podcast list.
Been working hard.
We
We
have
started at the bottom, literally.
They send me chart updates every week.
Is it still the bottom?
Yeah, it's podcast. It's an endless
Yeah,
pit.
that's
There's
true.
no end
Yeah,
to
anybody
the podcast.
can start with.
But we were just not ranked. We got up to 55 after the first episode that we did. And
to
then
55?
yeah.
I guess I didn't know that.
Yeah.
This is the year in review. Thanks for letting me know now.
You're welcome. I like to surprise you with things as we come out the gate.
Yeah, no, yeah.
But then we were off the chart forever.
Well, I think we should bring it
bring it-
off the chart the other way.
Yeah, we're going to bring it up.
How are we going to do that?
Well, I have a couple of ideas.
Well,
I think we invite in somebody in the podcast who is a Wisconsin native.
yeah, that'd be good.
Yeah. I mean, the hometown stuff. I'm going
Yeah.
to support the WI, throw the W up. W's.
And then here's the I.
Not much of a sports guy, are you?
Yeah, no.
No. Okay. Sorry. And somebody who's done like amazingly fantastical things in like anything that goes fast. I feel like our guest
Like motorsports
motorsports
junkie.
right? and sometimes unmotorized.
Headliner.
I've seen her on like it's not waveboarding.
So you've got somebody in mind.
I got a person in mind.
All right.
I've been thinking.
You think
long
this is
and
going to
hard
set
about
us
this.
up?
Not the person that was behind me in Walmart today. She's definitely.
Probably not.
But that would be a great guest.
That would actually really make this come.
Like,
full
why do you
circle.
have so much Sudafed? I don't understand. I don't get it. But
Appalachian alchemy. That's why.
ooh, nice LV Shane reference.
That
there.
was good. I did tie that.
That was a good drop there. But how about this? How about we bring in the lovely and talented Leah Bauer into
that would really
into the show. Look
really,
at that.
Oh, ladies and gentlemen.
And the crowd goes wild.
Man,
Live in studio audience.
that's right.
The push of a button. Leah, welcome to the Between Two Wrenches podcast. Sorry you have to put up with our intro.
I loved it. I was laughing very hard. Thank you for having me.
You bet. So I think let's just get the baseline going.
Yeah.
Who are you? What do you do? Other than being all across our Insta feeds for all the different motorsports opportunities that you excel at. Talk to us a little bit. Tell us about who you are.
I just like to do all the fun things. I just like to go fast. Anything I can get my hands on, I'm in. I like adrenaline. I like that rush. But yeah, I basically started off in snowmobiles. I mean, technically I started in dirt bikes first when I was really little.
Yeah.
And I wasn't very good at it. And I was kind of scared. I'm not good on two wheels. But then I got into snowmobiles big time from my dad, who is a world junior champion in dirt bikes, snowmobiles. He does all the things. So obviously that's where all that came from. But yeah, I've been in snowmobiles for a long time. Got into cars with my dad. We road race at like Road America and bigger tracks like that. But I've done the Mint 400, so some off-road stuff. Yeah.
So as a driver, as a co-driver?
Co-driver.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, that would
Yeah.
be exciting.
It was an experience though. It was
Yeah.
just like nothing that like you couldn't imagine. I just thought, oh yeah, we're just gonna do this cool race, and it's just all the logistics and all the things. You're just like,
You forget sometimes that like that's an industry.
yeah,
Like there is many livelihoods are created and supported by like that racing industry alone.
yeah, it's very cool.
Yeah, the first time I was out have you been to King of the Hammers?
I have been. Yep.
The first time I went out there, it was kind of a similar thing. Because for me, it was all amateur wheeling and trail riding, and we've been to some like all the popular spots, but not in any. And then when they started to like, let's mix, Southern Rock Racing Series style buggies with Baja 1000 and short course truck jump
Right.
into one like just endurance race. You're just
Yeah.
like, man. And then you're like, oh, that's awesome. Then you go there and you're like, this is a city.
Yeah, it's
This is
wild.
a city in the dirt.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
I know, because I only ever saw it like on social media.
Right.
Yeah.
So I thought, oh, that's kind of cool. Like it'd be really neat to see or whatever. And then you get there and you're like, oh dang, like this is legit. Like this is the real deal. It's cool.
Semi after semi trucking and it's stages. There's like, Hammertown.
Yeah.
It's legit.
Yep.
Yeah. No, and I know that that's true for a little bit of everything. Have you been up to Crandon?
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Oh
And
yes.
Same thing. It's like each sport, and I'm not as familiar with like snowcross and, but I'm sure
Yeah.
we're right into it. Same
I mean,
thing.
it's all racing. It's all pretty standard. Your procedures, but each one is a little bit different, and it's so cool to see all the different aspects of it because you like for me, I get like zoned in on the specific things that I do, and then when I look at other like areas, it's just really cool to see similarities, but how different everything is and how cool like expanding that is.
And how much focus that passion takes.
Yeah.
Because it's like you said, you can hone in on and continue to make your craft or your style or just better, and it can be consuming.
Yeah.
What are we looking at?
Hand signals. I was sports ball, steel third base. It was like
I get
it's a whole
Sports.
thing. But so obviously this is some, all of the things that you go fast on, and we'll discuss kind of all of them individually. But how young were you, and what was the first thing that you got on? Because obviously this is something that is passed down. From you were raised in it. You were in the woods before anything else. But I feel like you were like
I think she was in a house. I mean,
Right.
I don't think she
Probably
was that
her own.
wild.
I would guess.
Raised by wolves.
Yeah.
Ooh,
Yeah, something like that.
that would make it even wilder. You could
Hey,
get
you
Bear
never
Grylls
know.
in here. But how young were you when you first started to get like, going fast and on some sort of
Yeah, it's funny because I started on a little dirt bike when I was I actually started a lot older in life than most kids. I think I was maybe about 9, 10 when I was on a dirt bike. So my parents got divorced when I was about that age. And so then whenever I was with dad, I was at the shop doing things, working on cars and, fun things like that. So that's kind of where this all started. So I never grew up doing all of those things. It was more of, okay, this is kind of what dad does when I'm with dad. And then mom was like more of like the actual sports, like the not action, not, it's like volleyball, basketball, gymnastics. And then dad was always like racing, cars, dirt bikes. So I kind of just, for whatever reason, gravitated more towards that. I think I liked the adrenaline. I think I liked the rush. I always played high school sports and I loved that, but it was always like, can't wait to get home and ride my dirt bike. Like I can't wait to go home and go to the shop and work on cars with dad. So it was always one of
That's
those
wild.
things. Yeah, it was crazy. And it's funny because I have a brother that's younger than me, complete opposite. Wants nothing to do with any of it, doesn't care. My dad got him a dirt bike. He was like, nah, I'm good on this.
Danger.
I'm like, I'll take it.
Right, yeah.
I have
I
two
can
now.
ride too.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, so I started, maybe 9 or 10, and then rode dirt bikes for a little bit, rode snowmobiles a lot, and then I just kind of transitioned from the 2 wheels onto the
Excuse me.
sleds. And I thought you were laughing. I was
No,
like,
I
oh.
There's a lot of potency in that water we make.
I
around
know.
here.
Yeah,
It's,
no. My
it's
bad.
too old.
Yeah. No, so it's funny. I didn't start as young as I would have liked to now looking back because I feel like I could have been in a different spot. But I'm also really happy because of all the different things I get to do. I know I'm not like zoned in on one specific thing that I'm super good at, but it's like I get to do a multitude of different things, which makes me really happy.
Yeah. So when you say like these are the things that I like or these are the things that I do, like what is that? What does that encompass? Because also when you're like, oh no, like I like to hone in on these things, I'm like, well, I've definitely seen her on a wakeboard. She's been in a
lot of
trophy
pieces.
truck.
All the things.
Yeah. So like, yeah, is there one that's at the top of the list, or like, is there one thing that's like, no matter what else happens, this will remain a constant in my racing career?
I think it's funny because people always ask me if I like racing snowmobiles better or if I like racing cars better. And if you ask me in the winter, I always say snowmobiles. And if you ask me in the summer, I'm like, yes, cars all the way.
Right.
But yeah, those are the top two. But I just like getting opportunities. Like I feel like I've been very blessed, and it's not always about what you know, it's about who you know. Yeah. And I know a lot of people, so I've been very gracious to have the opportunities to do different things and experience different things.
I think part of that though too is about saying yes. Mm-hmm. And so like the opportunities come more and more once you get that snowball rolling.
Right.
When you start saying, sure.
Right. Yeah, you have to definitely take that leap of faith and be like, this is scary or I might be bad, but you just have to say yes and do it. Because for me, I'm one of those people that I have extreme FOMO. So if I don't do it, I'm going to be at home like, oh, dang it, I wish I would be doing that. Or B, I'm going to regret it. I'm going to look down the road and be like, why didn't I do that? I should have done that. That would have been so cool to do.
Yeah.
So it's like I'm trying to always say yes to opportunities.
That's awesome.
Which really helps me.
No, and that's we have that kind of idea and mantra culture here at the shop, because you know what you can do already, but what you don't know is what you can't do because you haven't had that opportunity.
Right.
So push it.
Yeah.
Let's just push it and see what happens.
Yep.
Talk to me a little bit about the fire.
Oof.
Is it the fire? Has there been multiple? I feel like, is it just one?
I think there have been, I know there have been fires in the past.
Yes.
But obviously.
We had a fire last Saturday at a Christmas party.
Yeah, that was probably more intentional than
I
I'm
think that was a
guessing
little
what
different.
she was shooting for.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that was wild. I never would have imagined that would happen. But there have been things like that happen in the past. I just don't think that it's really been spread over like social media as much as mine was, basically because it was like, I'm a very like big person on memories and remembering things, and like I like to document things because I like to go back and look at photos or videos and, oh yeah, that was cool, I remember doing that. And it was like my teammate was just like, hey, can I take a picture of this or a video of this? Like we just need to like record this, document this. And then we put it on Facebook because my parents couldn't get a hold of me, and I knew they have to know. I had no access to my phone or anything.
Yeah, I think we need to back up. Because I don't know if enough people know. Like, where were you?
Okay.
This was not
Where's
just
the
like,
beep,
oh
beep?
man, like I was up in
can
the
we
UP.
edit this? Do we edit this? What if I swear?
We gotta back up.
Do you got a beeper?
Oh yeah, no, it's fine. I mean, it's fine. We don't care.
Yeah.
But no,
freestyle.
this was not a fire in like northern Wisconsin outside of Clam Lake on the Snowmobile Trail. Let's set the stage a little bit. It was a race of a lifetime.
Yes.
All
So the last 2 years, I have had the opportunity to race the Iron Dog, which is a essentially 2,600 mile race on a snowmobile across Alaska.
Wow.
I've been very fortunate via sponsors, my teammate, my family, friends, everybody kind of, helping me out, having my back. I got to do this race. The first year I did it, which was not last year, but the year before, my teammate and I had never done it before. So I'm like, okay, well, I race cross country, which is distance racing. I've done a 500-mile race before. I've done a couple, like the long distance stuff. I'll be fine. Trained my butt off, rode my butt off, and I'm like, yep, I'm ready to do this. Let's go. So we get up to Alaska. We're getting everything ready. The race starts. We get through day one, and I'm like, that was awful. I'm going to die. I don't want to do this anymore. I'm done. I'm crying in my helmet. My teammate Jake is like, you're fine. You're fine. You're fine. It's fine. Everything's fine. I'm like, okay.
It's gonna be okay.
It's going to be okay. I'm like, I don't know. I
Are you
can't.
sure
This is
about that?
awful. It was so bad. So then we get in for the night or whatever. I'm like, it's okay. I'm fine. I can do this. Day 2. We can do this. So we get through 90% of day 2. And I'm like, something's not right with my snowmobile. This is not how it's supposed to be acting. It was kind of cutting out. All of a sudden, I look down, it kind of bogged, and I look down, and I'm on fire. It's coming out just under, down by my foot, and I'm like, what is happening? And we were in a complete ground blizzard, so couldn't see more than a couple feet in front of you. The wind was 60 miles an hour. It was insane.
And are you with your?
So my teammate
Rider?
and I each have a snowmobile, and
Oh.
it's one following the other.
Handy.
So I was behind him. However, we lost radio communication because our radios froze.
That works out pretty good.
He was gone. So I'm on fire by myself in the middle of nowhere, Alaska, on the Yukon River, and I'm just
In a blizzard.
in a blizzard. So I was just shoveling snow as fast as I could to try to get it put out, and I kind of covered it, and the wind just went whoosh, and the whole thing went up. And I was just like, you've got to be kidding me. So finally, it seemed like an hour, but probably, I don't know, maybe a minute or 2 or 3 later, here he comes back for me. I could see his headlights, and I'm like, oh my God, hurry up, as I'm still shoveling snow. And he comes and he grabs me and he's like, get away from there. This is not safe. The tanks are going to blow. The gas is going to blow up. Stop. You're not going to save this. And so I just sat there and just watched the thing burn down.
Oh.
Literally burn to the ground. And it was so hot and so fast. I couldn't save any of my stuff. I think maybe I saved one little pack that I ripped off right away, but everything was gone. It was
Oh my
nuts.
gosh.
So here I am, middle of Alaska, never done this before. It's 3 a.m, and I'm having to 2-up now on my teammate's sled for 2.5 hours to the next checkpoint.
Just sitting there thinking about everything.
And he's like, stop crying.
Right? Yeah. You don't
was awful.
understand.
Oh my God, it was awful. So yeah, that was the fire. But yeah, he had gotten a video of it because when we got to our checkpoint, I had no phone, nothing to communicate with my family. And I knew because by the time we got back there, the whole town knew about it. They're like, oh, Team 2 is on fire, whatever. So I was like, we need to put something out on Facebook at least or something so my parents can see because my parents were following via Facebook. So I was like, we need to let them know that we're okay, but we're out of the race. And this is what happened because I can only imagine if they were like, oh no, she's out. What happened? Is she okay?
Right.
The Air Force would be coming in
Right.
National
Guard.
Guard.
Right?
Just I can see planes flying over. But yeah, so
That's wild.
I think that's why it got so blown up because, you see a fire on the social medias and it's just share.
But that's wild.
So, yeah.
And I think that when you're in it, we have some stories just from the events that we've done also.
Some that we can talk about.
Some that we cannot. But there's some sort of normalcy that gets attached to these like crazy things.
Yeah.
And when you're in like the circle of people, you're like, oh man. And then it's, well, I got this one. And then I got this one.
Right.
And then, but like if you're at a coffee shop downtown and you told that story, people would be like, honey, are you okay? Like,
And then you went back and you did it again?
right.
I get that a lot, actually.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
like, it's not normal, and that's it's wild. It's extraordinary.
Yeah.
That's
It was probably one of the most traumatizing things I've ever experienced because I've never experienced a fire before. Like my dad owns a trucking company, and back in the, I don't even know, like 80s or something maybe, they had a huge fire. Like one of the trucks started on fire and burnt everything up. But I was obviously not even born, so I'm like, I've never experienced fire. I don't know what that feels like. But to watch something that that's yours, you've invested all this time and money and effort into, and you're just so helpless.
Yeah.
Like I'm literally helpless watching this thing just burn, and I'm like, how is this happening? What? And I can't even do anything about it.
right.
Like it was very traumatizing.
And the emotions that then come after that burns
Yeah.
down and everything that meant, then you look around in the quiet and you're like, wait a minute. I'm in the middle of the Yukon River in Alaska.
yeah. Snowstorm, can't
What?
see anything. I'm
Yeah.
just like, this
Yeah,
is
like
wild.
I'm I'm quite an empath, but at the same time, like I can't put I've been in some sketchy ass
Some
situations.
deep things, yeah. Deep
But like,
stuff.
I don't know.
Oh, I was scared shitless. I was like,
Yeah.
what are we gonna do now? And then it's weird
Have you
because
seen The Edge with Anthony Hopkins? There's grizzly bears and everything. I don't
yeah,
know.
because it's like I don't know how am I supposed to know? And it's crazy because there's like I don't know 30 or 40 teams or whatever it is of two, but you get so spread out during this race that you literally won't see somebody for hours and hours. There's like no people. So I think that's what was scariest for me because even though in the way back of my mind I knew that there was people around somewhere, when you are so alone in the middle of nowhere and there's just nothingness, that's what freaked me out. It was a reality of like, oh my God, there's no one coming to save us. Like, we got to figure this
Yeah,
out.
this is it.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
No one's
And
going to
then-
save you.
My idiot self, who is not ever willing to fail, goes and does it a year after.
Yeah. So tell us about Redemption Run.
Well, Redemption Run, it was like, okay, I'm fine. Let's do this. Like, I'm all gung ho about doing it. And then, like, it was scary. Like, I'm not going to lie. Day one was fine. I was like, all right, we're doing this. We're fine. I was in really, really, really good shape. I had lost my job right before Christmas. And so I actually put on like 4,000 some miles before I even went up for the race, just training. And I got up there, I'm like, I'm feeling good. I'm in really good shape. I'm not tired. Day one, done. We made it. Holy cow, this is awesome. Day two, we like came in way sooner than we did the year before. So I'm like, we're doing great. You know, we're moving faster. It's still daylight. And then pretty soon my teammate's like, I'm just going to make sure that we're all good to go. And I'm like, we're good to go. Let's go. What are you talking about? We're good. And he's like, well, I'm just going to, and he's just like being super sus. And I'm like, what is going on? And then he's like, oh, I have to go to the bathroom. Just look away. And then I'm like, he's not going to the bathroom. And I turn around and he's like messing with the sled. And I'm like, what's happening? He's like, well, I didn't want to say anything, but it's just not running right. And I'm like, no, it's fine. It's running right. We're going. Let's go. Stop. Do not even say that at this point. Because we had made it to the checkpoint right before we burnt down. I kid you not, within miles of where I caught on fire, his sled went out. Like the bottom end of the engine was done.
No way.
Yep. The Yukon River has it out for me. It's like a
guess.
black hole.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man.
So it was super, super disappointing. But when I was on that river, because we had made it earlier, like I said, so it was still daylight out, I could actually see where we were at and where I had like visualized where we had burnt down, and we had looked at it on a map and stuff. So it was like, oh wow, this is what it actually looks like. And it was super eerie. I was like, let's get off this river. I don't want to be here.
Let's get out of here. Yeah. No thanks.
Yeah, and then his sled didn't quite make it. So it was kind
So
of
is
fun.
that riding two up is not, both have to cross?
We both have to finish, but we both have to, if one goes down, the other one can't go alone.
Gotcha.
You both have to have sleds that are working that finish. Yeah.
Rules.
So I know. And I feel bad because that was his third time doing it.
So do you have
So-
plans to do it
Yes.
again?
The plan was to do it this year. A few things kind of got in the way with that, with money, and I got a new job.
Oh,
So
exciting.
I'm trying to be an adult. But yeah, so next year
Lame.
I will be doing it again.
Awesome.
So yeah, hopefully next year I'll be set up a little bit better with more money, sponsors, vacation time. You know, I just started my new job at FXR in May, so it's hard for me to say, hey, can I have a couple months off? Thanks, bye.
Right. Yeah.
So yeah.
Also,
next-
who starts a job in May and then is on their billboard like 5 months later?
Yeah. Obviously.
Yeah.
I
that
started
was so
I
funny.
started this job like 3.5 years ago. I still haven't seen my ass on a
And
billboard
Russell
yet.
Nicolay put you on all kinds of billboards.
Did he?
Yeah.
I feel like maybe that's his head. Hi, Russell. Thank you. Proud sponsor of us.
Oh, that's funny.
But I think you made a good point when you talked about, going into that coffee shop and telling somebody that story. Because I think Phil has some stories like that. We've encountered some stories like adventures like that too. But it's almost this different breed of person who goes out and does really awesome things, but also the layperson thinks that they're maybe not the best decisions in the world. They're the people that are watching those stories unfold on Facebook. They're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe this girl's snowmobile started on fire. We watched, remember the trail blot video we watched when we were at Moab?
Oh, yeah.
2 years ago, some guy tried to grab the back of a Jeep and it flipped back up and flipped him off the side of what some would consider a mountain.
Oh
It's
no.
not here nor there. He's fine. He's fine.
He's
It's fine. Walk it off.
fine now.
But
I think.
people who do
Had
this
some
kind
recovery.
it's tough for people who do those kind of things and make those kind of go on those kind of adventures to explain to others like, well, yeah, you were sad, you were disappointed, but you went back and like, well, yeah, of course I'm going to go back and do it again if the
Yeah.
opportunity presents
Yeah.
itself.
We
Yeah,
got
I can't
one
go
ride.
out
It's a
like
different.
that.
Yeah.
It's just a different level of mentality.
Yeah.
Well, and we got one ride on this rock.
Yeah.
Why not?
Right.
Otherwise, like, what are we gonna do?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
that's weird. It'd be weird. I couldn't handle it.
Yeah.
Not doing things that test yourself. I think
Right.
that's what it boils down to.
Yeah.
And then it becomes levels because
Yeah.
snowmobile and off road. I was listening to a podcast with a bull rider the other day, and I was like, well, there's some things that I would probably definitely not do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, those guys
that's
are
a little,
psycho.
That's
So
a bit
there's, like-
much for me. I don't think
There's
I would
the
do
normals.
That.
Like the normal people kind of all fit into one box, and then the crazies are another box, but then there's just levels of crazy.
Yeah.
that
Well,
that
yeah.
fit inside
Well,
of it.
or limits, levels of limits, maybe. Like, I just did a 72-hour fast or a 86-hour fast a couple weeks ago.
Oh, I would come unglued. I do not.
He was fine. It was totally fine.
I get
Nothing
hangry.
abnormal.
Oh no, I do
I
too.
eat like every hour.
But that goes away. So like I'm the same. I am the absolute same way. Like I do not. That's not. But at the same time, it's like, well, let's just try it. Let's see what happens.
If Dana
And then
White did it, I can do it.
Yeah, right. You see some influencer that mentions it, and you're like, anything that is a test of myself, I just feel compelled to.
Yeah.
I got to
could get
try
that,
it.
yeah.
I got to see what it's about. And then when you get into it, and you're like, 24 hours in, you're like, oh yeah, my stomach hurts. And then you wake up the next morning, you're like, I don't feel that bad. 48 hours in, you're like, I could kill everybody in this room.
And I love all of them. Is
And
it weird?
I still have some energy. I could do it. You wake up the next morning, you're like, well, I'm almost there now.
Yeah.
Then you can't quit now. You're like
Right.
literally.
And that's
right
what
there.
it was. And then I got to it, and I think the first thing we did was into Milwaukee Burger Company, and I had a dozen wings.
No,
and-
the first thing you did was you're like, are you going to the store? I was going to the store to
Oh,
pick
yeah,
up things
that's
for
right.
breakfast, and you were
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
can you pick me up some bone broth because I need to ease my
Yeah,
life
I was
back
gonna
into
say because
that.
you can't just like
Yeah.
go to town.
He had to
like, your
have- he had to
stomach's
have
So I
bone
was
broth.
like,
wrecked.
I had heard that,
Yeah.
and I was like, I don't know, get some bone broth. And he's like, package.
Do you want the packets that you mix in with your hot water, or do you want the
or you're
actual
on the
stuff?
carton? And I was like,
Organic.
Carton. I said, I don't fuck. I have no
got 'em
idea.
both.
Whatever, just
Get
give me
you both.
something. And so he shows up, and then we had a lunch meeting at 1 at Milwaukee Burger Company. And so then I was like, well, at noon, I'll have some bone broth. That was my 84 or 85 hours. And And like those first couple of sips of the bone broth, it was just like, I was giggling. I was like, oh, this is pretty good.
The color came back into his face. He
Right.
looked human
Yeah.
again.
I didn't. Yeah. Everybody came out of the buildings they were hiding in. And then
Put their weapons down.
and then we went to Milwaukee Burger Company, and I think I had two 34-ounce beers and
Oh,
a
yeah.
dozen wings.
Oh my
So I
God.
definitely
He was shaking it in neutral a little bit, and then he just
Yeah.
slammed that thing right back down.
definitely
in the
double
gear.
the clutch.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It wasn't about necessarily what I ate after. It was more just the fact that like I don't know, or I got into like I did an Ironman training for a summer once, just to do it.
Yeah.
But then after you run 26 miles, like 10 doesn't seem like a big deal anymore.
Right.
And I think that was the point that I was trying to go into. It's like, I'm doing 86-hour fast. 24 hours is like, who the fuck cares?
Mm-hmm.
You know, you run 50 miles, get on a sled in the middle of the Yukon. Well, now when somebody's like, hey, do you want to do a night ride up in the UP? You're like,
Yeah, it is. It's crazy.
yeah, that sounds like a Tuesday to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It just changes your
Right.
perspective.
Mhm, it really does.
And I think that's, once you start doing that, then you're like, well, how can I do that more?
Uh-huh.
Keep
What's the
finding
next
ways.
level? Yeah.
What's next? And that's, I think like I struggle just with business or, you know, anything that we've kind of created around here too. It's like, it isn't, all right, I'm on top of the mountain. There's a taller mountain.
Right.
Where is it?
Yeah.
You're on top of a mountain.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it's wild because people say, like, well, what drives you? And I don't know. That's a tough question.
Yeah.
What drives you?
Myself.
Yeah.
I'm very competitive, and especially with myself. And when I know that I've accomplished something, it's like, okay, I feel really good about that, but then what? Like, I need to keep pushing myself. I need to keep doing more. And like, what's the next thing? That's what keeps me going. And especially when I see other people doing things, it's like, well, if they can do it, I can do that. I can do that.
Right.
You know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because there's a branch off, I think, because there's a lot of, especially up here in our neck of the woods in the Midwest and Alaska, a lot of people snowmobile. You know, a lot of people do that on the weekends.
Same. Alaska.
It's basically
Yeah.
the UP, Alaska. It's the same. We probably own that too, Wisconsin. But there's a split off between weekend warrior snowmobiler and like, well, no, I want to do some crazy things. Like when did that split happen for you? When you were like, no, this is more than just I like to snowmobile. I like to snowboard. I like to, you know, there's a point where you're like competitive or yeah, this is something I like to do as a hobby.
Yeah, I think for me, growing up, I did a lot of just kind of not bar hopping, but like stops. Like with my dad or whatever, when I was little, we'd always stop here, get lunch or whatever. And then it was like, I always felt as I got older, kind of like, okay, let's keep going. Like, let's go. Like, I don't want to sit here. Like, let's keep going. And so I've never really been the one to want to stop places. Like, I know like all my friends bar hop, and it's like, my goal is to get as many miles on as I can. Like, I don't want to stop unless it's for gas. Like, if I'm getting up at 5 a.m., I'm not done until midnight. Like, we're going to ride and we're going to see how many miles we can put on. I think that's where it came from me is I just want to ride. I don't want to be sitting in a bar or, you know, I want to ride. I just want to keep going and keep going and keep going and just keep pushing myself. Like at the end of the day, I want my arms to feel like they're falling off.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that's that separation. That's that different mentality, different breed where you're like, well, oh, my arms are getting tired. I think we'll call it a day.
Yeah.
Or we'll stop here and take a rest. I mean, some people just want to keep
Go
going.
one more.
Yeah.
Yeah. One more round.
Nick Barr.
Oh,
more.
I was always growing up as the one more kid.
Yep.
Like,
Yeah.
I remember like practicing basketball and I'd shoot and time for supper. One more, just one more. Shoot.
Yep.
Just one more. I was always the one more kid.
Yep. No, absolutely.
Yep.
Well, with that being said, what's next? What's on your horizon?
Iron Dog for sure.
Yep.
I will make it back up to Alaska. I will be doing some more car races with my dad in the summer. He's hopefully going to retire soon, so we have a little bit more time together, but I know that's one of his biggest passions too, so we'll be able to do that. I don't know. I'm kind of just coasting right now, just trying to see what
Looking
comes.
for opportunities?
Yeah, trying to see what comes next, and
Right.
we'll figure
Anxious
it out.
to say yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep. I've
I
been
get
looking
that.
at a lot of different things and, different opportunities that I could possibly get into. So we'll see what happens.
Are you local to Eau Claire?
Yes, I live in Eau Claire.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. So I'm from Medford originally, which is kind of, if you're in Eau Claire, you're going towards Wausau, kind of
Middle of the state.
that way.
Yeah.
Hmm. Yep. But,
And then north,
and a little bit north. Yeah.
a little bit.
Yep. So
I've been to Medford. I feel like I was just.
not much there.
Is that? Well, that's
Small.
just north of Wausau.
Nope. It's actually, do you
Oh,
know
that was
if
Merrill.
you're on 29 going towards
Close.
Wausau, and you're on 29 and you know where the Abbotsford exit is?
Yep.
If you get off on Abbotsford on Highway 13 and go north, it's like 15 minutes
That's
ish.
what it is. Yep.
Yep.
I know where we're at.
Yeah.
I've been there.
How does 'cause I feel like this is different. It sounds your dad raced before.
Yep.
Was that so? In his days of racing, like you raced and then you fixed your vehicle and then you raced again. There were so many more elements now. I mean, you that social media presence that you talked about, which you're great on. Everybody follow. Was it Leah? It's Leah Bauer,
Leah Bauer
007.
07. Yep.
I don't know. She just seems like she's like James Bond and stuff.
007.
Maybe I
there's-
need to rebrand myself.
Got some new entrance music.
Cooper's like, well, you know, marketing.
But there's a whole nother element to it, a whole nother avenue that you have to be present in. Like how does the balance work with keeping up with not only racing and putting your sled together or putting a vehicle together during the summer months, with also
Your own
trying,
brand.
also trying to become your own brand and
Yeah.
having to tell that story via all the umpteen social media platforms that are out there.
It's a lot. It is so much more than anybody would ever know, especially if you don't hire someone to do it for you and you're just doing it on your own. It's crazy because even growing up when I was little, obviously, we didn't think about social media back then. It wasn't like we just do our thing. And now all of a sudden it's like you have to have a presence, you have to promote yourself, you have to get sponsors, and you have to have all these people with eyes on you and show what you're doing. And it's like I go from like I don't have a huge crew. It's basically me and my crew owner, Bruce, who has taken me under his wing. Him and Lori, his wife, they're like my second parents. They help me a lot. My dad helps me a lot. But it's like I'm not one of these huge sponsored riders that just, here you go, work on my stuff. Thanks, I'll see you tomorrow for practice. Like
Right.
I literally go from working my butt off on this stuff to get it prepped, go out and race, come back, clean things up, put things away, while still trying to take photos, take videos,
That's the
make
part.
reels, make TikToks. And it's just like, I'm tired. I'm so tired.
It's tough.
It's so much work. And I get done, like even last year when we were training and we were riding, it was like, I'll put on 400 miles a day. And at the end of the day, I don't want to do a TikTok. I'm tired.
Yeah.
I want to shower and go to bed. It's 1 a.m.
Yeah.
So
And-
it's,
and the audience
it's
doesn't.
hard.
I mean, you talked about having that crew. The audience doesn't realize it because they see a lot of people on social media that get done with a 400-mile rip, and then somebody's there, and all of a sudden they're like, "Yeah, I know it's a great day," and da. And we are gonna go back and we're gonna take a look at the sled.
Yeah.
Like that's not just their social media guy. That's the guy that's there to capture it. Then they hand that information off to the social media guy who
Right.
puts it together. But to have to do it all on your own, man, that's
I always think about how much easier it would be with like film crew and someone to edit my stuff, because last year we did get a lot of content. Like we
what
got
is that
so
like?
much.
Tell me a story.
Well, Cooper, it's pretty great.
It is a lot.
It's so much.
And I got so much content last year, videos, photos. And at the end of the season, I was like, oh my gosh, I didn't even post any of this stuff because it took too much time and too much work to edit it, that I was just like, racing is more important than having a social media presence
But
at
then
this
it
point,
also
because I'm
sucks.
focused.
Because like that's your story.
Right.
And those are the stories that resonate and build your brand.
Right.
And I social media is so easily consumed. And there isn't a lot of empathy for the consumer to be like, well, yeah, but like, I want to know more.
Yeah.
I want to know more.
Yeah.
And it's like, man, it'd be a lot easier if we just had a drone that
Right.
followed me and it was live streaming.
Yeah.
And all I had to do is change the batteries out.
Right.
Because it's like, Cooper made the joke of, what's it like to have a film crew follow you around. But like we don't have a ton of social media following. But we have, for an automotive shop, we're doing pretty good. but it all came from the day to day. It was the constant stories of just the antics going around the shop, but having to constantly post that and then worry about, I mean, that's great and all the fun stuff or the trials and tribulations, but like I still have to make money, and then I have a family that like I can't forget about.
Right.
And so you have all these things that you want, but also, and I'm not to speak for you, but you want to share all of those things with everybody because like that's who you are.
Right.
And they fell in love with who you are, and not Leah, the like snowmobile driver.
Yeah.
No, it was Leah.
Yeah.
And everything that you do and everything that you rise to, whatever occasion that you rise to, but there's so much that goes into it. It's that whole like iceberg, motivational poster that was in the library in elementary school. It's like success, and then it's everything underneath.
Yeah.
Here's what sunk the
this is what-
Titanic
Yeah.
underneath
Yeah.
the water here.
Yeah,
You don't-
exactly.
oh,
You know where the work was done? Under the waves.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's
where it
true.
happened.
Yeah.
But it's just wild to have to, and then you do it for 10 years, and then you're just like, I know what it takes.
Yeah.
And then you start weighing, where are my priorities? And maybe it's racing,
Yeah.
and maybe it's building a family, maybe, or maybe it's furthering the career. It's like a slide graph.
Right.
Like, well, right now I can focus on my social media, but then all these things got to suffer.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, let's bring that down so I can rise up here.
Right, and the times that you have to focus on your social media is the times when that is the opposite time of when the content
It
is
never
out,
works
because
out.
you have to be out racing and going after it.
Exactly.
And it's like, yeah, that balance point is a struggle that without the massive crew, which I think the general public who's consuming the social media probably doesn't understand. Like there's
Yeah.
normal people
That's
walking
upsetting.
through a store. Like if Jake Paul is walking through a store, it's not him with one camera.
Yeah.
There's 18 people inside of that store getting all the different
the
angles, and then someone
angles,
putting
yeah.
it together. So the comprehension is like, oh,
But there's a grind that took to get there too.
it did.
So you got to look at that, and it's hard to be like, oh, it must be nice.
But I think it's from consumer facing. When the consumer looks at it, they're like,
No, they
oh,
don't
well,
have any idea.
It makes sense that there's four. We have 3 iPhones that's filming this right now.
Right.
How's everybody doing? But it's the 3 of us. I mean, it's one camera per.
Right.
And people get so used to like, well, of course we'd have 4 different camera angles of Leah while she's on,
Right.
our podcast.
We got to bump these numbers up, people.
We need to get above 169, man.
Help us.
If we break the 100s, I mean, I think
I
we're
think
in
that's
business.
that's good for the year.
Also, Milwaukee Tool, could you start making podcast equipment? That would be great. Just
Yeah.
go ahead.
Cheers.
That'd be
This thing is backwards and it's throwing me off. There we go.
It
Labels
looks
out.
right to me, though. Oh, 'cause you're holding
you're
it.
dyslexic.
I could read it.
So we're wrapping things up in 2023, and we kind of leaned in a little bit to what you have planned. But do you feel like constant growth year after year? Do you think you're like all these strides that you're making? The trajectory is like 2024 is my year, but 2025 is going to be epic. Like, are you the forward momentum?
Positioning yourself.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
positioning.
I could sense it.
I did too. I felt it. I didn't want to say it.
It's because we're all on the same Wi-Fi network.
Yeah, that's true. No, I
AI
think
is
so.
listening.
I think so.
Yeah.
I know it's weird for me because sometimes I feel like I'm just killing it and I'm just, going like this is what I'm doing and check this. And then sometimes I'll have a little bit of a setback and I'm just like, well, dang it. That's not what I meant to do. Like, that's not where I'm supposed to be. So that's kind of where I'm at this year. 2023, revenge. It's not going to take me out a third time at the Iron Dog. I'm going to go back up and do it. And then just one little thing fell apart and then another thing. And then just things just didn't work out. And it was like, okay, that's life. Move on. Next year. So I'm going to try to keep back again, try to keep building myself up for 2024 and in all aspects, with my career, family, friends. I feel like a lot of times in the winter, because I'm so busy with racing, I let a lot of things slide. Like I don't see my friends as much. I don't see my family as much. And it's like a call here or there, a text here or there. And it's like, I need to be better at that too. So it's like, I constantly am trying to set myself up better and better as I'm going through life. So
I'm not going to say it, but the older we get, the more perspective we get. I think they call that wisdom.
I'm 29 again. I don't know what you're talking about.
Same girl, same.
Well, from the wise guy, it is wild to see that. Somebody once recently, I brought this up last night on a podcast we were doing with some other shop owners. The only people that care about the overtime hours that you put in is your family, namely your kids. And I heard that 10 years ago. I'd been like, too bad.
I'm going to show them what work ethic's all about.
That's right. Exactly.
You work 14 hours a day to get success.
But also, like, I've always kind of, like my crew, we have to sometimes really put it in. When we were working 60, 70, 110-hour weeks leading up to SEMA. But, like, that's what that time's reserved for. Yeah. Do we have to, like, make some sacrifices here and there to get our 40 to 45 hours? Yeah. But, like, I don't require the team to, like, you know, the slave driver is not really what I try to position myself as a business owner. But at the same time, like, I have to remember that for myself. And that was the hardest part. And when somebody told me that recently, it was like, that hits a lot different. And yes, my kids are a little bit older, 10 today. Gonna go have.
Happy birthday, Jaders.
We're going to Fuji tonight.
Can I come?
Yeah.
Heck yeah.
And
we're having a party now.
Right. But it was like, yeah, nobody else cares. My customers don't, in the grand scheme of things, right. My customers don't care because we're still going to provide awesome service, and we're still, like, you know, we care about them and their family and their project. But, like, these 5 hours tonight, they don't matter. Mm-hmm. And I think that really helped me kind of shift my perspective. And, like, I'll give myself a little space from the anxiety of, like, I got to keep going.
Yeah.
You know, I quit waking up at 4 a.m. to get my workout in for 2.5 hours before 7 a.m. Now I wake up my son wakes me up at 5:30 because he wants to be able to do more push-ups. So it's like, all right, 5:30, we're downstairs doing push-ups and squats and stuff. Which
also, I don't think he's heard of the snooze button yet. He hasn't quite discovered.
Also, but then you're
which
like,
is good.
Do I be like, buddy, there's a snooze button? Because I'm looking at mine, and I can hear him coming down the hallway every morning at like 5:34. I know. I'm like, maybe tonight's tonight, or tonight's the morning. It's just not going to happen. And then you hear it, and you're like, oh, I got to show him I can do it too.
Yeah.
So then you got to rise above. All right. What? Oh, you're tired? I'm tired too. We'll get it, son.
Yeah.
It'll be all right. But I don't know. So it's like shifting priorities for what really matters, but you don't know what really matters without experience. And
Balance.
then that's what they call wisdom, right?
Yeah.
Maybe.
Well,
Yes.
I think so. I think that's it.
I think that's
Word for word. I think that's what it is.
No snooze buttons.
Don't snooze it.
Don't snooze on your kid.
Right. That's
Come on, Dad.
asking you to do better in
Gotta
life.
go slap the gym.
What do you think I have? Is that like in my parental description?
It is.
Actually.
Yeah, the contract, they don't show it to you.
Right,
It's just, it's like unwritten rules and laws. Awesome. Well, Leah, congratulations on the success so far. And I know that, I mean, it takes a certain amount of drive, again, as we talked about, that split off of doing something as a hobby and doing something as a passion and taking it into a career. But man, I feel like 2024 is going to be like.
Yeah, we're going to have to get you in here halfway through, quarter of the way through.
I think you guys should come ride. We'll take it easy the first day. We'll do like 350 miles. You'll be fine.
Yeah.
We'll work up to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I need a snowmobile first, but.
Hey, we can make that happen.
All right.
Can
We
I
just
be the
need snow.
snow would
This
be
is
helpful
ridiculous.
too.
Well, that's I think so.
Minor detail, but
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Snow
Also,
would be
I'm
nice.
leaving to go down to where there's no snow for the month. So,
All right. Well, we'll send you a selfie.
Yeah.
you're coming to visit, so don't
Right.
act all high
I'll
and
bring
mighty
the
like
selfie down there. I'll be like, hey,
like
look,
you're
this
staying
is,
up here
This
as
is
some
where
sort
we're
of pride.
riding.
Yeah, we're gonna be up here. No, I'll be the kid on the sled behind the sled, like the actual
We'll
sled.
pull you. Yeah.
It'll be great. Yeah. The hood of a car is what
Chevy
we used to use.
Chase and Christmas Vacation
Yeah.
going down
Right.
on a saucer. That would be neat. Awesome. Social medias again. What's the
Leah Bauer 07.
I'll cross all the channels.
across all the channels, all the things.
All the things.
Yes.
Well, thanks for coming out.
Yeah, thanks for having me. This was awesome.
Oh, heck yeah. Between Two Wrenches podcast, move us up from 169 somewhere into like the 140s would be.
I mean, anything.
Anything is good.
Yeah, we started at the bottom, and we just don't want to be there anymore.
Merry Christmas, everybody.
It's just no weed running out the way that we stock it. If I got it, you got it. If I call it, she slide and tell her to mop it. Yeah, I got that shit doing. Damn, she took that thing off and bring it around. Going at it till I'm on. Put that 90 in a hole, I'm beating it down. I'm back in that bag again. Whoa, whoa. Oh, say less. I'm back in that bag again. Yeah, yeah. Oh, say less. I'm back in that. Yeah. What you doing? Yeah, yeah. I'm back in that. Hey, where you going? Hey, hey. Back in that bag again. Don't bring me around.